Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and I'm continuing to go through all of Kevin Smith's films, and today we are doing the 2001 film Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Here is your trivia question for today. At Miramax Studios, what is a code 1082? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So from the start of our film, we see the quick stop groceries from the 70s all the way till the present day, and the one continuous thing that seems to be there from infancy to adulthood is Jay and Silent Bob. Now, unfortunately for our dynamic duo, on this particular day, they have managed to piss off Randall and Dante to the point where they are now physically removed from being out in front of the quick stop. They then head over to their local comic book store to hang out with their other friend, Brody. It's here where Brody notifies Jay and Bob that a movie is actually going to be coming out about them. Well, more specifically, about their comic book characters, Bluntman and Chronic, that was written by their friends Banky and Holden. So they head off to go talk to Holden about getting a piece of the pie when it comes to the money involved with the movie. He notifies them that he actually gave over his rights to Bluntman and Chronic to Banky, but that there is going to be a movie made within the next few days. So now Jay and Silent Bob are going to travel from New Jersey to Hollywood to try and stop the movie. Along the way, they end up running into an animal activist group, and one of their members is a girl named Justice, who Jay falls in love with immediately. So the girls manage to talk the boys into helping out their cause, so the two of them break into a facility to rescue some animals. Now, while they're dealing with that, we discover that the girls are actually a group of diamond thieves that are pulling off a heist right next door to the animal facility. The girls do manage to steal and escape with the diamonds, and now Jay and Bob are left looking like criminals for releasing the animals and stealing the diamonds. So now Jay, Bob, and an orangutan named Susan are on the run and trying to escape from a wildlife marshal and the police. So will Jay and Silent Bob have enough time to clear their names and stop the movie? This film was written and directed by Kevin Smith. The movie takes place across the United States, but is filmed primarily in California and New Jersey. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is the fifth movie in the View Askew-universe. In fact, the original title was just View Askew 5. Just like Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was supposed to be the end of the View Askew-universe, but that of course didn't end up happening. Shannon Elizabeth plays the character of Justice, and it was actually her idea to give the character glasses as an inside joke of Justice being blind. Also, she wasn't the only actress up for the role. Heather Graham and Selma Blair were up for it as well. The character of Marshall Willenhawley is played by Will Ferrell, but that role was originally offered to Charlie Sheen. Mark Hamill makes a brief cameo appearance as the supervillain Cockknocker, and if it weren't for scheduling conflicts, that role would have been played by David Duchovny. The character of the nun, who by the way does have a Buddy Christ on her dashboard, is played by Carrie Fisher, but was almost played by Allison Janney. The actors playing Jay and Silent Bob in the movie of Bluntman and Chronic are James Vanderbeek and Jason Biggs. Those roles almost went to Matthew Lillard and Freddie Prinze Jr. There was even some talk of having Seth Green play the character of Jay, just as a joke towards the fact that he almost played Jay in Mallrats. The parody Scooby-Doo group is Mark Blucas as Fred, Matthew James as Shaggy, Jane Sylvia as Velma, Carmen Llewellyn as Daphne, and even Mark Hamill doing the voice of Scooby-Doo. Llewellyn, by the way, is an actor who's been in the vast majority of the View Askew-universe movies. You of course can't forget about the Diamond Heist girls, including Eliza Dushku, Allie Larder, Shannon Elizabeth, and Jennifer Schallbach Smith, who is in fact Kevin Smith's wife. Also, baby Silent Bob is played by Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith. There are quite a lot of cameos from celebrities in this film, including Sean William Scott, Diedrich Bader, Jon Stewart, Jamie Kennedy, Judd Nelson, Wes Craven, Tracy Morgan, and even Morris Day and the Time. There was even talks at one point of having Quentin Tarantino and Harvey Weinstein actually play themselves in the film. And then, of course, there's all the actors from previous View Askewniverse films, including Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson as Dante and Randall, Brian Johnson and Walter Flanagan once again playing Steve, Dave, and Walt, Dwight Yule reprising his role of Hooper from Chasing Amy, Joey Lauren Adams and Renee Humphrey playing Alyssa Jones from Chasing Amy and Trisha Jones from Mallrats, producer Scott Mosier playing the assistant director, the man who's in pretty much everything from Kevin Smith, Ernest O'Donnell, George Carlin as the hitchhiker, Chris Rock as the director, Alanis Morissette coming back to play God, Shannon Doherty playing herself in the Scream film. And if you didn't notice this before, that painting in the background is of Salma Hayek as Serendipity from Dogma, because unfortunately she couldn't make it to filming. Comic book creator Joe Quesada as the pizza delivery guy, Jason Lee playing both Brody Bruce and Banky Edwards, Ben Affleck playing Holden McNeil and himself, Matt Damon also playing himself, although Smith did have a very funny idea about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck that wasn't used, where instead of them playing themselves, it was going to be either Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn or Marlon and Shawn Wayans. By the way, if you didn't know, when Affleck and Damon mention that one reason to do a film is because you owe the director, this is actually a reference to the fact that Kevin Smith was the one that brought the script for Good Will Hunting, which the two of them wrote, to the attention of Miramax. It is also funny that they had Gus Van Sant and Scott William Winters, the director and one of the actors from Good Will Hunting, show up in the film. Two last things about Jason Mewes. He was unfortunately completely high and drunk throughout all of the filming of this movie. But on a brighter note, did you notice that throughout most of the film he's wearing a Berserker shirt, which of course is a reference to the character of Olaf, Silent Bob's cousin from Clerks? Technically, you might be able to connect Scream 3 to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, mainly due to the fact that both Jay and Bob do in fact show up in that movie, and in this movie, they are recording a Scream film. Did you happen to notice that in the Miramax lot, you can see someone in a Daredevil outfit? The reason for this is that at one time Kevin Smith was a writer for the comic book. Brody's secret stash in the film is, of course, just a nod towards Jay and Silent Bob's secret stash, which is a real comic book store. In case you were wondering why they made such a big deal of one of the online critics being called Magnolia Fan, this is because Kevin Smith posted a strongly negative review of the movie Magnolia, and director Paul Thomas Anderson was so annoyed and offended by this that he asked and requested so many people to put on the message board criticisms towards Smith. Like most View Askew films, Kevin Smith's favorite number 37 makes an appearance, more than once even. The first time is the fact that the Diamond Heist girls had their 37th heist. The second time is on Justice's prison outfit. Speaking of numbers, the word fuck is used 248 times throughout the film. There was at one point talks of doing a full-length feature Blunt Man and Chronic movie. It never ended up happening, but a lot of the ideas they had for that film would later appear in the animated movie Jay and Silent Bob's Super Groovy Cartoon Movie. So when it comes to the film Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I really enjoy this one. It's silly, it's ridiculous, but one of the things that I do like about it is it's almost kind of like an Avengers style View Askewniverse movie, where a lot of the random characters from everything else kind of appear together in this one. So I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5. And if you did enjoy this movie, other movies I recommend checking out are Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, Dude Where's My Car, Road Trip, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Now it's time for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. At Miramax Studios, what is a code 1082? A 1082 is apparently disappearing a dead hooker from Ben Affleck's trailer. But don't worry, folks, Affleck states that he wasn't even with a hooker today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.